You're listening to the Why Boarding School podcast, broadcasting around the world. Join us as we promote independent boarding schools throughout the United States and Canada with our invited guests. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jeffrey Quebec.
Welcome to the Why Boarding School podcast. I'm Jeff Quebec, and today I'm joined by the Director of Enrollment Management at Culver Academies in Culver, Indiana, Steve Pietraszek. Welcome, Steve. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate the invitation to come on.
So Culver Academy certainly has a rich history, with the founding of Culver Military Academy dating back to 1894, Culver Girls Academy having been founded in 1971, and Culver Summer Schools and Camps going back to 1902. So Steve, perhaps you can start off by giving our audience a brief overview of the number of students at Culver Academies, the grades you offer, where the students come from, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Culver Academies does have a long history, and that's really served us well throughout the United States and throughout the world. During our school year program, we have 835 students who are in grades 9 through 12. Those students are 100% boarding students. Everyone lives here on campus full-time, and currently this year they're coming from 42 different states and 24 different countries. So we really do have great representation everywhere. For our summer schools and camps, we actually have about 1,400 students that are here for a 6-week summer camp from mid-June to around August 1. And those are students aged really 9 to 18, the younger ones in our Woodcraft camp, the older ones here on our boarding school campus.
Oh, that is great. And so what is the academic curriculum like at Culver Academies?
So at Culver, we are a liberal arts curriculum. And what we do is, our first 2 years, freshman and sophomore years, students really build a strong foundation. And then our junior and senior year, there are a lot of electives and opportunities to study in honors programs in various departments where a student has a specific interest. We take our classes by semester, so it's more similar to a college curriculum in that if you're studying biology as an example, you're studying biology during the first half of the school year, so up until about our winter break, and then in the second half of the school year, another class will replace that. So students are traditionally studying 7 courses per year, and our classes, each class will meet 5 times per week. 4 of those classes will be a real deep dive. There'll be an 85-minute class. Our Wednesdays are a little bit shorter in there. So we're able to focus on a specific number of courses at a time, either 3 or 4, and really dive deep into those classes. Any given year, we have about 185 different classes that are offered between 10 academic departments. So you can't take everything, but we are going to make sure that all of the distribution requirements are taken care of early. So again, you can focus as you move in. And I think one thing that is particularly noteworthy of Culver, are some of those classes that students really demonstrate an interest in. You can study anything in an AP subject. We offer about 24 AP classes a year. But then we also have some, what I would like to call pre-professional classes that students can study. So we have a Department of Entrepreneurship. So students can study business innovations, for example, if they think, maybe business is something I'd like to go into the future. We've got different health classes. We've got, a medical fields class where students are really working in doing some entry-level things that they might see in medical school. So if you think that could potentially be a career, we've got different things like constitutional law classes. So a lot of different things that once you determine you've got an interest in this and maybe you want to dip your toes into it before you head off to college, you have the opportunity to do that.
That's great. And so, Steve, can you talk a little bit about the academic support that Culver offers through your Department of Learning Resources?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Dean of Faculty actually has a phrase that he uses. He calls our curriculum high challenge, high support. And so we want our students to be challenged in the classroom. We want them to work hard. But we also, as educators, as teachers, want to be there for our students. So, we have a specific period every day about mid-morning that's basically office hours for our teachers. So there's a 45-minute block when students know exactly where to find their teachers and go see them. We also have specific spaces on campus. So we have a writing center, we have a math help center where you can go and get general help on any particular subject. And then we have our learning support services where students can make appointments and get academic coaching. They can get work with executive functioning skills. If they have a particular learning plan, that will be the office that will help them and their teachers follow that learning plan and get them the support that they might need, not just in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom as well. During our study hours, we also have, most of our students are studying in their rooms or in the library during study hours, but we have some students who just find it beneficial to be in more of a neutral space and have one of the members of our learning support services there to help them create a plan during that study time and execute that plan and follow up as the days of the week go on.
It's nice that they have that support.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit about the visual and performing arts offerings?
Yeah, so, in terms of our visual arts department, we've got some students that are just creating some amazing pieces of artwork here. Everything from, your traditional 2D art classes where they're working on drawing and painting to different pottery courses, sculpture classes. Actually, one thing that's been fantastic is we have an equine sculpture class. So we have a huge riding program here at Culver, and we use those horses through the arts department as a way to study motion and then also depict motion through sculpture and through painting. I think that's really one of our unique classes that we're able to offer in the visual arts department. Performing arts is, we have students doing everything from music to voice to theater, both in the classroom. So you can take private music instruction during your class day if you want to become a better oboe player, or you can take jazz band during the class day if music is of interest to you. But you can also do those things after school as well as an extracurricular program. And the same holds true for our performing arts department. So we've got students that are studying how to write a play and writing those plays and then performing them during our winter term every year. But we also have students that are studying stagecraft and how to do lighting and the technical aspects of theater as a class. And then we also have a handful of students who are doing that after school. So we'll put on 3 dramatic productions a year, and they're doing that. So really robust offerings in the arts, and every one of our students is going to be involved in something after school. And after school arts programs are available for students that want to do that in any term.
So I know you've touched upon a few of them, but are there any sort of special signature programs that are offered at Culver?
Yes. I mean, our number one signature program is our leadership program. And our leadership department is an academic department, and that is a class that students will take every year that they're here. But beyond that class, we also have practical leadership instruction through our student life department. So our boys through the military program, our girls through a prefect system. It is an intentional 4-year leadership program that students are embarking on. And really, when we say that things are student-led here, we mean that because we are training them to be leaders and helping them evolve. So that is something that everyone that comes to Culver takes great pride in. The other signature programs that we have here, I touched upon some of our academic programs. Our Ron Rubin School for the Entrepreneur is very popular among our student body. And that has classes in it, everything from, if you're taking an economics class or you're taking a business innovations class, those are classes that you can study there. But also as a capstone project, so our students who are earning honors in entrepreneurship, are running one of our 2 student-run businesses here on campus. We have the Ron Rubin Cafe, which is a coffee shop in our Math and Science building, and then we have Eagle Outfitters, which is a part of our school store. And when I say that they're running those programs, I don't mean that they're slinging drinks behind the counter. I mean that they're managing those programs. And they're doing staffing, they're doing menu, they're doing ordering, they're doing specials. They have to move products. And occasionally someone calls in sick. Yeah, it does mean that they're throwing on an apron and getting back there and doing it. But they are honestly running a business. I guess the safety net is it's not their own money, so they don't have to worry about profit margins as much as they normally would. But it really is a wonderful opportunity to get some real life experience there. And I think I alluded to this earlier. Those are some of our pre-professional opportunities that we have in the classroom, and that's just one example of many. From an extracurricular side of things, we have a number of different athletic opportunities here for our students, everything from JV to varsity. But then we also have some very specific, very high level athletic opportunities. So for boys and girls ice hockey, we play U.S. hockey. So we have U16 and U19 or U18 for boys, 19 for girls teams, and they're really playing a national schedule, and it's their goal to make it to the nationals at the end of March, early April every year, and they are traditionally ranked, as one of the top 20 programs nationwide in ice hockey. Similar program for boys lacrosse. Our prep lacrosse team plays a very rigorous schedule, and is frequently at end of the year tournaments with some top national competitions. The same holds true for crew, sailing and fencing here as well. Not a lot of schools in the Midwest or really nationwide offer those programs, and so we're competing against some of the top clubs and schools throughout the country, and giving those students a real opportunity to learn what college athletics would be like, managing their time. We're students first, so for any of those programs, it's not an academy. They're not doing anything separate from our regular student body. So they're really focused on balancing academics, social life, and some of these extracurricular passions that they have.
So are these students, is everyone required to play a sport every season, or how does that work?
Every student is required to do something after school, and that something could be athletics, it could be arts, or it could be what I consider some of our academic teams. So they could do robotics, they could do speech and debate, they could do Model United Nations.
So you mentioned a few of the different sports teams that you have in the offerings. What are some of the other athletic offerings at Culver?
So we have about 64 different athletic teams between fall, winter, and spring. And I certainly encourage all of our applicants to come to campus. The first thing that you're going to notice when you come to campus is you're going to be wowed by the lakefront. We're on Lake Maxinkuckee, which is a beautiful lake here in northwest Indiana. And so that enables us to have sailing and crew. We also have our own golf course, our own indoor-outdoor tennis facilities, and then our own equestrian stables. So we have about 90 horses here on campus, so students can do jumping, riding, Western, all sorts of different things after school. I think those are a lot of our unique offerings here. And then we also have every traditional sport that you can think of. And for most of our sports, they compete in the Indiana High School Athletic Association. So we're playing schools big and small throughout the state in football, soccer, baseball, basketball. Of course, in the Hoosier State, basketball is king. They say there's Indiana basketball and there's 49 other states. I think our teams, all of our teams, really take a lot of pride in the Culver Sea, the Eagles, but also they work really hard, and they work to balance in all of the different things that they're doing, because as from a boarding school standpoint, the school day doesn't end at 3:00, right? Everybody's engaged in things after school, and I think that's really important, so that we can get to know each other, and by that I mean students and faculty alike, in a 360-degree way, right? What someone is like in an English class, but you also know how they work on the basketball court. And you also know that they're devoting time to do service work after school, or that they're doing these different study abroad opportunities. So I think it's a great opportunity, and we want to provide for our students, and our facilities are certainly top notch. And I think that matches the commitment that our students and faculty have towards extracurricular pursuits.
That's awesome. Go Eagles, right?
Go Eagles. That's right. It's a great day to be an Eagle.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to continue our conversation, learning more about the Culver Academies in Culver, Indiana.
Do you have any questions or guests that you'd like to see on an upcoming Why Boarding School podcast? You can contact us directly through our website at whyboardingschool.com. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to the Why Boarding School podcast. I'm Jeff Quebec, and I'm joined by the Director of Enrollment Management at Culver Academies in Culver, Indiana, Steve Pietraszek. And so, Steve, as we continue our conversation, what's a typical school day like at Culver?
A typical school day here at Culver is full. And so we start the day, obviously, with breakfast, and all of our students will head to the dining hall. But our class day doesn't start until 8:30. And so our students will head to the dining hall. They'll come back to their dorms prior to that, get what they need, do some check-ins there, and then head off to class. Our classes are longer than most. Each class period is 85 minutes. So students will have one class at 8:30, and then they'll have a break in the day where our faculty have office hours for about 45 minutes after that. So all of our faculty are in their classrooms or their offices, and students know where to go to find them. And to be honest with you, our teachers handle that in one of two ways. Traditionally, for our younger students, if we notice that a younger student might be struggling with something or they need some help, we'll pull them in and say, listen, I think why don't you come to office hours on Tuesday, and we'll talk about this then, right? As our students mature and really get used to the Culver academic model, juniors and seniors, teachers usually handle it as, I'm here, you know where to find me, come and see me anytime you need some help. So we've got that little break in the academic day, and then the day is followed by two more classes plus your lunch block, and then a final class to end the day. So we're traditionally done at about 3:45. And then students will head back to their dorms. Students will, head to the athletic center. The locker rooms change, but really after-school activities get started pretty shortly thereafter, and they're usually on the fields or in the gyms by about 4:30. And so they'll each have about an hour and a half practice. Usually, most teams are done by about 6. The dining hall is open every day, actually from 5 to 7:30, so students can come and go for dinner as they please. We do have a few eat-out options here in town, so it's not uncommon to see the Papa's Pizza or Frida's Mexican car rolling into town for deliveries. It's nice to get a break every once in a while.
Sure.
But students really have some free time. A lot of clubs and activities will have their meetings, around 6:45, 7, depending on what's going on. I always see the Quiz Bowl team going up for practice here in the library. That's where the admissions office are. So they're getting their work in every day. But we really quiet things down at 7:30. At 7:30 is the beginning of our study hours, and so we want every student to have those 2 hours of distraction-free time. So they're either in their rooms or they can come to the library and study. So from 7:30 to 9:30, we're really focused on that. And then we, after that, every student goes back to their dorms, and you're in your particular dorms from 9:30 on, and we do lights out as appropriate by age. So it's a busy day, it's a full day. One thing that we prioritize here, and this is really in a post-COVID world, we did a lot of work with our students and their wellness. And one thing that we found is, and this is no surprise to many, is that they weren't getting enough sleep. And so we really prioritize sleep, and we want to provide kids with the opportunity to get 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And what we found is over the past couple of years, where we've really educated students about the importance of sleep and provided that structure and that opportunity for them to get that. We did that by pushing the class day a little bit later, by bumping the study hours up a little bit earlier, is that, you know what? They're happier and they're healthier. with their day-to-day life. So sleep is an important thing. And for us, Sunday through Thursday, we have that structure in place for study hours. And it's a busy day, but it's a full day.
And I'm sure the students nor the faculty no one's complaining about sleeping a little bit much. A little more.
You tell us we can sleep in an extra 20 minutes. We'll take that anytime, right?
So how about the weekends at Culver? What are they like? Are there events on campus, different maybe clubs meeting or activities, maybe trips off campus?
Yeah, we do a lot here on the weekends. And of course, we have 835 students that live here, right? So it's never boring. There's always stuff going on. You're never wondering, where the heck is everybody? And I think that that's one of our greatest strengths. But traditionally, Friday nights, there's usually some sort of big athletic events that are happening, whether it be Friday Night Lights or a big game here. And our students show a lot of support with our different athletic teams. And also with some of our performing arts programs. Those are usually on Saturday night. So there's good student support of all things, but then we also have a downtown that's very walkable from campus, so students can walk downtown, go to one of the restaurants in town, or go to the coffee shop, hang out there. We also have a couple of different student centers here on campus. We've got your traditional sort of fun and games student center, right, with the foosball and the ping pong tables. We've got our student restaurant, the Shack, where kids can go if they want to stroll down and have dinner on the lakefront here. And then one thing that's great is we have Beeson Hall, which is our seniors only student center. Now, legend has it that if an underclassman gets into Beeson Hall, they're going to be thrown in the lake. I've never actually seen that happen, but I think the story of that is enough to keep it seniors only. And so that's their place to be. And then we're always, we really take advantage of our setting. We're always doing different things, whether it be, carnivals that we have here on campus, or movie nights in our auditorium, or dances. We have a couple of big traditions. We have a fall ball and a final ball, where we really turn the multi-purpose center into a huge dance floor for our students of all ages. So those are some of our more formal events, but we'll always plan at least one big thing every weekend on campus, try to get all 800 plus kids to come out for that, and then we'll have usually a selection of smaller things that kids can sign up for, whether it be a bus to South Bend, or something to a cultural event, or then different things here throughout campus. So it's never boring. But we don't want to plan it ourselves either, because Jeff, at our age, we're not that cool anymore. We don't know what's fun. So our student activities committee really does a great job of asking the school for what they want. Right? We want to do this on a Saturday. We want to do this on a Sunday, and I think that's very important in terms of the planning.
I think it's extremely important that the students are involved. They're having a say in it. It's what they want to do. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we do have a couple of commitments that we have to make on the weekends. We do not have Saturday classes, so Saturday is truly an open day for all of our students. On Sunday mornings, all of our students have to do a spiritual life service. Now, we offer 9 different spiritual life services, both religious services, your traditional Protestant mass, or your or trips to a mosque, or Catholic services. But then we also have non-religious services, things like meditation, or contemplative writing, or yoga classes. So it doesn't matter what students are doing; they sign up for it in the beginning of the school year. But that is a commitment that they have to make to their spiritual well-being every Sunday.
So, Steve, I know you touched upon the all-important topic of food earlier. What are the meals like at Culver? Are they served sit down? Are they buffet? Are they required? How does that work?
Yeah, so breakfast is required of all of our students, the most important meal of the day, right? Dinner and lunch are open seating. Come as you will. Some students will be there for 15 minutes and then out. Some students you'll see lounging in the dining hall for an hour, just chatting with their friends, hanging out. We do not have any sit-down meals. So everything is open seating, and come and go as you please. And the biggest thing is options and choices, right? We have a huge student body, and we want to provide for all of them. So not only do you have your traditional buffet, hot style meals, but we have our nutritional fit bar for those that are on, that have specific goals that they want to accomplish with their food. We've got soup, salad bars, make your own sandwich bar. So a variety of different things. The menu that changes constantly, and then we also have a restaurant here on campus if you need your fix of burgers and fries and pizzas and milkshakes. And then there's also 5 different restaurants in town that will deliver to campus. And so you'll see some students, again, every once in a while, you just want that pizza from somewhere else, or you want that Mexican food from downtown. And so they can deliver to campus. So you'll see a lot of different students with a lot of different tastes, and we're able to provide for all of them.
Sounds like the students are definitely being fed well at Culver.
Yeah, as I said, it's a busy day, right? And so you gotta 3 meals are not enough. There's always, and of course you've always got the ramen noodles and the Easy Mac in the dorm for late night, right?
Great. So what is dorm life like at Culver?
Yeah, so all of our dorms, I think one of the things that's unique about Culver is you are placed into a dorm, or as we call them for boys, barracks, as a new student, and you will remain in that dorm or barrack for your entire time here at Culver. And within each of the dorms, there's a leadership pyramid that forms, right? Your new students, and then your second year students have different leadership responsibilities. Third years and ultimately seniors have the most leadership responsibilities within that dorm. All of our dorms are doubles. Everybody has a roommate. And then each dorm ranges, our smallest dorms are 45 students in them. Our largest is 72. So none of them are huge within the units and the dorms. But a couple things that are unique about our dorm life. We have dedicated dorm faculty that live in the dorms, your house parents, if you will. And that's their responsibility, is to live in the dorm with those 40 or 50 students and be an advocate for them. And then we also have dorm counselors so you can think about it, they have the day shift, right? And they're implementing the leadership curriculum. They're meeting with students, at least on a weekly basis about their goals, both inside of the dorm and the classrooms and in extracurriculars. So we've taken a really big school and we've divided it up into a lot of small different units so that you have that personal attention and that environment of care. Because look, these 14 to 18-year-old kids, right? And they're growing up. And during that growth and that maturation process, we want to be there to walk hand in hand with parents, because parents are making the ultimate sacrifice and having their kids live away from home because of the opportunities that we have here. And so that's really important that we have people that are specifically focused on residential life rather than trying to wear 5 or 6 different hats and bouncing around all the different responsibilities. The other thing that we're in the midst of in terms of residential life is a huge construction project that will take the better part. We're about halfway through an 8-year construction project. And so by 2030, every single dorm here at Culver Academies will be either newly built or newly renovated.
Wow.
So we have done, in the past 4 years, we've opened 3 new dorms. And then we recently just took a dorm down. And we are in the process of building that back up. So in a year and a half, we will have North and East will be brand new, and then we will start on 2 more dorms, and then 2 more dorms after that. So by 2030, everything will be brand new.
That's great. So do the dorm parents and the counselors, are they also serving as advisors to the students?
So yes, they are advisors to the students. They're one of many advisors that we have. So okay. Our dorm parents, our dorm counselors are advisors for that group of students. Okay. And they are working with that leadership curriculum that our students have. And then we also have academic advisors.
Okay, I guess I was going down that avenue. Is there also an academic advisor?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what we've done is we have moved from your traditional college advisor role to an academic advisor. So we have 9 different academic advisors here on campus whose responsibility is to work with students from their freshman year through their senior year. So everyone has, approximately 80 students that they advise, but those 80 students are going to be 20 freshmen, 20 sophomores, 20 juniors, 20 seniors. Obviously, how they're working with them is different, but the important part is they're building a relationship. So when you start the college search process, you're not starting with, "Hi, nice to meet you." You're starting with a foundation, and you're able to help students and parents navigate that college process.
And by that point in time, they obviously know them very well.
Know them very well. And there's that ease and that comfort level, but also they've helped guide them along the way with. When you're applying to colleges, you can't join 7 different clubs your junior spring, right?
Yep.
Colleges are smarter than that, right? They know that they're looking for sustained interest from kids. So really encouraging students to take academic courses that are challenging, yet also classes they can be successful in. To have that wide variety of classes your first couple years. And also to mimic that in extracurricular interests so that you are joining clubs. And maybe not every club that you join as a freshman sticks, right? But what is going to happen is you are going to find some things that you love to do outside the classroom, and you're going to advance to leadership positions in those. And you're going to make an honest-to-goodness difference in the life of that club or the life of that team or whatever it may be. And colleges are going to know that, and they're going to know that they've got someone who's multidimensional.
So, Steve, would you say, is there a typical Culver student?
Oh boy, I get that question a lot, right? And I think the beautiful part of having a school this size is the diversity of our student body, right? We've got kids with lots of different interests, lots of different backgrounds, and that's really important. But I think the 2 things that they all share, they all want to put in the best effort that they can in anything that they do. You can use the word grinders, however you want to do it, but they really, when they do something, they do it to the fullest extent. And I think that there's a competitive aspect to all of that. We've got some different things, obviously with our athletic programs or our arts programs, they're striving to be the best. There's a competitive aspect to that. But I also laugh in student life because, we have a lot of different competitions between our barracks and dorms. And if you ask any kid on campus what dorm is the best, I guarantee you every single one is going to answer the one that I'm in. My dorm, Battery A is the best, or Harbor's the best. And so there's that competitive aspect where they want to work to be the best. But there's also the second thing that they all have is pride. They're all very proud of being a Culver student. Our Culver Legion is what we call our alumni base, and they've got to be some of the most fiercely loyal people on this planet. You will always see them. They wear their Culver rings on their hands. They come to campus for reunion weekends every year. They come to different events throughout the country. They sponsor internship programs for our students. They support this place through their generosity. It's amazing. So I think that the competitive aspect and the want to be the best, and then the pride that they take and all the hard work that they do.
Well, that in itself is quite powerful for the current students to see such the pride and the passion from the alums, especially as they come back onto campus.
Oh yeah, and we have specific weekends on campus. So we have one every spring called Culver Connections Weekend, and the purpose of that is to bring alumni, both young and old, back that represent a wide variety of fields. And so that they can sit and meet with our juniors and our seniors to talk about their experiences post-high school. We've got some young alums who just navigated college and maybe graduate school and maybe finding their first job. And then we've got some mid-level professionals and some seasoned professionals who are there to tell you, hey, this is what working in this industry is all about. This is how I became, I mentioned earlier the Ron Rubin School for the Entrepreneur. That's an alum who was a successful entrepreneur and has given back to the school. And he is still very active in that program. And so I think it's a great opportunity to learn, learn with people who've been there, done that, right? They know about your experience and what you've gone through at Culver and how it's prepared you. And now they're telling you these are some of the steps. And I think they're also saying, hey, we're here to help however we can. So making those connections is important.
So similar to that, Steve, are there any sort of cool traditions at Culver that may be unique from other schools, or perhaps there's that one tradition you hope always remains a part of Culver?
Oh, so we have a lot of traditions, a lot. I will tell you my favorite tradition,
Okay.
my favorite Culver tradition. So we have these gates here on campus called the Logansport Gates, and they are opened once, and that is for our matriculation ceremony. So the first week of school, all of our new students will line up on one side of the gates, and all of our returning students will be on the other side of the gates. And we will do it by dorm. So we will open the gates, and we will call every new student by name, and they'll walk through the gates, and they're greeted by our head of schools and our commandant of cadets and our dean of the Girls Academy. And as they're walking through those gates and their name is called, you can see the nerves, right? You can physically see them tense and tight, and they come through, they shake everyone's hands, and then they're greeted by all of the returning students in their dorm, and they are greeted with high fives and slaps in the backs and hugs, and you can just see them relax as they come through that. They're like, I made it, I didn't trip, right? But I think that's our formal way of welcoming them to the Culver community. And then we mirror that ceremony at graduation day. And at graduation day, we have the Iron Gates for CMA and the graduation arch for CGA, Culver Girls Academy. And so after you get your diploma and you do your handshakes down, you tap the gate as you walk through. You smile for the camera, but then you're greeted by the president of our Legion Board, or our Alumni Association, at the other end. So you come in through gates and you walk out through gates, and that tapping of the gate. Is you can just see every student beaming from ear to ear as they go and do that. And I think those are really special traditions that we have, that every student takes part in.
And certainly what an awesome example of the students coming full circle at their experience and their time at Culver.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And then alumni weekends, we bring those gates out again, so our alumni can recreate it if they'd like.
Welcome them back. Yeah, absolutely. So, Steve, before we talk about admissions, is there anything about Culver that we didn't discuss today that you'd like to mention?
Well, I think one of the questions that I get frequently about Culver is about the military aspect of things. A lot of people have misconceptions about military school in general. This is not a reform school, right? And our idea is not to take bad kids and turn them into good ones, right? And it's not, it's not boot camp either. We're not preparing young men for war. What we are doing is preparing them to lead, and so we use that military system as a framework to teach leadership, the same way that we use the prefect system with Culver Girls Academy to teach leadership and to give them positions and responsibilities. And the first thing that you need to do is learn how to be a good follower, and then learn how to lead yourself, and then take that next leap and gain the courage to lead other people. So I think that they're very important lessons. They're timeless lessons. But at the heart of it all, it's part and parcel of a bigger picture. So leadership, character, citizenship are big three that we're working to teach students, both in the classroom and also outside the classroom.
So if someone's interested in Culver Academies, how might they go about starting the admissions process?
Yeah, so you can find a lot about Culver, obviously, online. And we've got some great assets out there on our website, so you can get a sense of the place. You can communicate with an admissions officer. This is really the height of our visit and interview season. right? And we welcome students that are going through the application process to come visit us any day that school's in session. We'd love to introduce you to one of our current students and let them take you around and show you the place, and then meet with them. Our application deadline is January 15th for our first round admissions decisions, which go out on March 1st. Basically everyone starts by contacting us. We accept both the standard application online and Gateway to Prep School applications. So families can begin the application process there, set up a time to either visit in person or virtually, make sure that they get all the appropriate requirements submitted to us on time. We've got a couple of things to keep in mind in terms of the timeline of things. We have a tremendous merit scholarship program here at Culver. We call it our Distinguished Scholarship Program. And those were made through generosity to the school, where we have 65 students right now on campus who are benefiting from a full ride merit scholarship. Those applications must be received by January 15th. Because what we do as an admissions committee is we review all of our applicants and then make recommendations to faculty panels who select those merit scholarships, and they will do a separate interview process with finalists for that and ultimately decide. So we have and each of our Distinguished Scholarship Program has separate parameters. Some have geographic restrictions, some have certain qualities that they're looking for. You can find all of that on our website. But we usually have 15 new distinguished scholars every year, and so that's a fantastic program. So if students are interested in that, definitely want to reach out to the admissions office early and get started on that process early, because you can imagine it's quite a competitive process for that.
What an awesome opportunity. And Steve, what is the website address?
So we are at our website is simple. It's culver.org.
Okay, easy enough.
Easy enough. You can find it there, and really, as I mentioned, lots of information there. But I think the most important thing to learn about Culver is once you start asking about it, our number one fans, our alumni, our current parents, are going to start coming out of the woodwork. Jeff, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, no matter where I am in this country, if I'm wearing a Culver hat or a Culver sweatshirt, I guarantee that if I go to an airport, someone is going to come up to me and say, I went to Culver. My father graduated from Culver. I went to their summer camps. I did this, I did that. We really are everywhere. It's crazy. But I think that those are our best ambassadors. And so certainly, our families, our current families, our alumni are always happy to talk about their experiences and why they love this place.
Well, that's awesome. Certainly that's a tribute to you and your colleagues and the work you're doing at the Culver Academies. So that's great.
Yeah.
So Steve, I've enjoyed my conversation with you. It's been nice to learn more about Culver Academies and certainly share it with our audience. And thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for this opportunity. This was great. I've been in boarding schools my entire adult life, and I love nothing more than sitting down and talking about boarding schools and what makes this one, Culver Academy, so special.
Awesome. Steve Pietraszek, Director of Enrollment Management, Culver Academies in Culver, Indiana.
Thank you for listening to the Why Boarding School podcast. We look forward to you joining us for our next episode. Please remember to subscribe to the Why Boarding School podcast and help us spread the word. Until next time.